It was supposed to be a night to remember. Tasha and Jordan Miles had driven 6 hours to get there, through thunderstorms, road closures, and bumper-to-bumper traffic, to celebrate their 10th wedding anniversary. They were exhausted but glowing. A decade of love, 2 kids at home with grandma, and a reservation at one of the most prestigious five-star hotels in Charleston. Tasha wore an emerald green dress that shimmered under the streetlights. Jordan, tall and sharp in a tailored navy suit, held the door for her as they stepped into the marble-floored lobby of the Bellamy Grand Hotel. Lush chandeliers sparkled overhead, and the air was thick with the scent of white roses and expensive cologne. But the moment they walked in, the room shifted. The receptionist, Chloe, her name tag said, looked up, blinked, and frowned slightly, as if something smelled off. "Can I help you?" she asked, her voice clipped, eyes darting behind them, expecting someone else to follow. "Yes," Jordan said warmly. "Reservation for Miles. Jordan and Tasha Miles. Checking in." Chloe tapped her keyboard with deliberate slowness, her lips tightening as she looked at the screen. "I'm sorry, but I don't see a reservation under that name." Jordan pulled out his phone. "It's under Tasha Miles, booked last month. Confirmation number's right here." Chloe barely glanced at the screen. That's odd. We're actually at full capacity tonight. Are you sure this is the right hotel?" Tasha's smile faded. "Yes, Bellamy Grand. 8 p.m. check-in. Paid in full. With a balcony suite." A man in a golf shirt and khakis wandered up behind them. White, sunburned, casual. Chloe perked up immediately. "Hi, Mr. Dawson. We have your suite ready. I'll get your key right now." They watched her hand over a key card, grinning from ear to ear. Tasha's voice was quiet but firm. "So, we're standing here, in formal wear, with a reservation and confirmation number, and you're telling us there's no room?" Chloe didn't flinch. "There must have been a system error. Unfortunately, there's nothing I can do. Maybe try the Fairfield down the road." Jordan opened his mouth, but Tasha touched his arm. She could feel the heat rising in his chest. The humiliation. The sting of being dismissed in a place they had paid to be. She knew that look. She'd seen it too many times. And yet she smiled. A different kind of smile. The kind that meant, "We're not done." "Thank you," she said coolly. "We'll handle it." They turned, walking out under the judgmental stares of a few guests in the lobby, murmuring under their breath. But the moment the heavy glass doors shut behind them, Jordan let loose. "This is exactly what I was worried about. That look in her eye? Like we didn't belong the second we walked in. Man!" He stopped, fists clenched. Tasha gently pulled him aside. "Let them sleep tonight," she said, eyes gleaming with something fierce. "Because tomorrow, the world is gonna know." By morning, the Bellamy Grand's phones were ringing off the hook. Emails flooded their inbox. Jur's Boycott Bellamy was trending, because overnight a video had gone viral. Not a rant, not an emotional plea. Just Tasha, sitting in their car, speaking calmly into her phone camera. "Last night, my husband and I were denied entry to a hotel we'd paid for. Not because of a system error, not because of overbooking, but because a black couple in formal wear was simply inconvenient." She then pulled out the receipts, confirmation emails, bank statements, a time-stamped video of them being dismissed while another guest was welcomed in. But the part that broke the internet? The reveal. "I am Dr. Tasha Miles, civil rights attorney and co-founder of Access and Equity Watch, a national organization that tracks and legally challenges racial discrimination in public accommodations." She held up a business card. "My husband, Jordan Miles, he's the investigative journalist who exposed the housing discrimination scandal in Atlanta last year." Boom, the comments exploded. "Oh, they messed with the wrong couple. Chloe about to be unemployed by lunch. This is how you clap back with facts." Within hours, the Bellamy Grand's PR team was scrambling. The hotel issued a lukewarm apology, calling it a miscommunication. But the damage was done. News stations picked it up. Outlets started digging. Turns out this wasn't the first time. A former employee came forward anonymously, revealing that Chloe had a history of turning away black and brown guests for dubious reasons. Complaints had been ignored, no action taken. Now the storm had a face, and that face was angry. That afternoon, Tasha and Jordan held a press conference on the courthouse steps in Charleston. Not to rant, not to gloat, but to educate. We didn't go viral because of who we are, Jordan said. We went viral because our story is common, because somewhere right now another black couple is being told they don't belong. Tasha stepped up beside him. But let this be a warning, she said. We're not asking for a seat at the table anymore. We're building our own. The crowd erupted in applause. Justice served. But just when it felt like the story had reached its satisfying end, another twist. That night, Jordan received an encrypted email. No subject line, no sender info, just one line of text and a single attachment. The text read, "You've exposed the hotel. Now look deeper." Attached was a scanned document, a lease. It was a shell company. But the name on the final line? Bellamy Holdings, LLC, board member, Congressman David L. Maris, the same congressman who had been publicly railing against race baiting and cancel culture, the same one who had personally invested in the Bellamy Grand Hotel chain. Jordan stared at the screen, then turned to Tasha. They didn't just disrespect us. They've been protecting this behavior, funding it. Tasha's eyes narrowed. Then I guess the story isn't over. The hotel scandal was no longer just a local embarrassment. By the end of the week, it had become a national headline. Power couple exposes racial discrimination at luxury hotel. Congressman linked to racist hotel practices? Bellamy Grand backlash grows. More victims speak out. What started as an act of quiet humiliation in a Charleston lobby had turned into a reckoning. But for Tasha and Jordan Miles, the real battle was just beginning. Because now, they had a name. Congressman David L. Maris, a powerful politician, widely respected, polished, elected on platforms of unity and American values. And now, thanks to a leaked lease document, publicly linked to Bellamy Holdings, the silent owner of the Bellamy Grand Hotel chain. At first, Maris denied everything. Fake news, he said, a coordinated political attack. But then the whistleblowers came forward. A former executive revealed Maris's direct influence over hotel hiring practices. Another testified that he'd advised management to maintain a certain image in the hotels, code that was used to justify discriminatory behavior. Tasha, now representing multiple victims as lead counsel in a class action lawsuit, called it out plainly. This wasn't about one employee at a front desk. This was about systemic exclusion, protected and enabled by power. Behind the scenes, Maris was panicking. He thought this would blow over, that people would forget. But Jordan was digging deeper, night after night, combing through campaign finance records, property reports, tax filings. Patterns emerged, millions in unaccounted revenue, offshore accounts, shell companies used to quietly purchase luxury hotels in cities with rising black populations. It was a pattern of erasure, keep the face clean, keep the power white. And Jordan had the paper trail to prove it. The story reached a fever pitch when Jordan dropped a bombshell report. Hidden Empire, the Maris Hotel Network, and the systematic exclusion of black guests. The article went viral in less than 2 hours. He had audio, photos, testimony, even Maris's signature on internal memos outlining guest filtering guidelines for all Bellamy Grand properties. Language that avoided race while targeting it directly. The public exploded. Protests erupted outside Bellamy Grand locations in Atlanta, Chicago, and New Orleans. Civil rights groups launched campaigns. Celebrities tweeted their support. Maris's name became synonymous with elitist racism. He was being drowned in the very silence he had tried to maintain. Then came the subpoena. A congressional ethics committee demanded Maris testify under oath. Tasha sat in the front row during the hearing, calm but fierce. She watched as Maris tried to charm his way out of accountability, only to be met with facts. When confronted with the lease, he fumbled. When asked about the whistleblowers, he stumbled. And when Jordan's audio recording was played, his voice saying, "We need to keep these hotels upscale. We all know what that means." He went pale. The room was silent. Then one of the committee members said, "Congressman Maris, you have become a liability to this institution and to the people you claim to serve." By that evening, Maris had voluntarily stepped down from the board of Bellamy Holdings. A week later, he announced he would not seek re-election. Justice again was served, but the Mileses weren't done. Because this fight wasn't about one man. It was about an industry, a mindset, a structure that had been allowed to thrive in plain sight. Tasha launched a new initiative, Keys Open Doors, a nonprofit legal project aimed at fighting discrimination in public accommodations, using Maris's case as the blueprint for holding wealthy power structures accountable. Jordan published a book, Entry Denied: What Happens When You Say Nothing, an investigative chronicle of race, power, and the cost of silence in luxury spaces. Their story became the spark for change. Hotels quietly began changing policies. Companies added new diversity training. Cities passed new ordinances for hospitality transparency. And every time someone asked, how did this all start? They pointed to that night, that one hotel, that one smirk from behind a desk. 1 year later, on the anniversary of the incident, the Bellamy Grand Hotel in Charleston was under new management. Chloe, long gone, replaced by a young black woman named Kira, who welcomed every guest with dignity and grace. Tasha and Jordan were invited back, not as guests, but as honored speakers. Ironic, isn't it? Jordan said, walking into the same marble lobby. They said we didn't belong, Tasha replied. Now our names are on the keynote banner. As they stepped onto the stage, the crowd rose in applause. Tasha looked out at the sea of faces, then began. Let me be clear, she said. We didn't ask for this fight. We didn't plan to become a headline. But the moment someone told us we didn't belong, we knew we had a choice. Retreat or rise. She paused, her voice steady. We chose to rise. And now we want you to understand this. Your presence in a space should never be questioned because of your skin. And when it is, don't shrink. Stand taller. As the audience rose to its feet again, Jordan leaned into the mic. And to anyone still holding on to that old way of thinking, of exclusion, of quiet bias, we have a message for you too. He looked into the cameras. We see you now. To be continued, because while one battle was won, the war for equity rages on. And the Mileses, they're just getting started. Never let someone else decide your worth. Systems of power may try to exclude you, but truth, resilience, and community will always find a way to break down the gates. The tables may not turn overnight, but when they do, they turn for good.